Rosati got him back to the Final Four. We were talking to Gino Auriemma earlier in the week, and he said this team is in need of an identity.
Well, the identity really is him. He has had to become a little bit more vocal. They lost Jen Rosati and Jamel Elliott, which were two key starters for that team. But he's got some good veterans on this team and three young freshmen that definitely will be an impact.
As for Paul Sanderford at Western Kentucky, he's got 4 starters coming back and 3 transfers led by Leslie Johnson.
Leslie Johnson, a great job at Purdue. Freshman of the year when she was there, but transferred. She has sat out a year and a half, but she played during practices. She was the leader then, and she's the leader now. Look for her to the go-to player.
In 1994, she led Purdue to the Final Four. Can she do the same at Western Kentucky in 1996? The Tip-Off Classic when we come back.
ESPN2's presentation of NCAA basketball is brought to you by State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
And back here at Maples Pavilion for Game 2 of the Tip-Off Classic between Western Kentucky and Connecticut. Mimi Griffin is back, and the Huskies would love to have Jen Rosati back as well, Mimi.
Hey, Robin, the question for this Connecticut team is the point guard position. But you know what? It's not a question for Gino Auriemma. He's already told Rita Williams, you're the player. That's quite a daunting responsibility when you consider in the last 8 years, only 2 players, Debbie Baer and Jen Rosati, has led this team from the point position, and both have taken their teams to the Final Four. Hey, Robin, Annie, that's your kind of pressure.
Oh, we can handle that kind of pressure.
That's right.
All right. Let's take a look at the State Farm starting lineups, beginning with Western Kentucky. Lori Townsend, 5'7" junior, and with McCulley, also a transfer from Purdue, and Leslie Johnson, who we talked about at the beginning of the show, also from Purdue. And for Gino Auriemma, Nikisha Sales, 2 preseason Player of the Year candidates, Nikisha Sales and Kara Walters, Annie.
Well, there's no question that Kara Walters is the best post player in the country. At her size, nobody competes, but Nikisha Sales has improved her game. I don't know how you can do it, but she is so quick on the baseline, has improved her outside shooting, and she really wants to be a leader on this team.
And that's what Gino Auriemma needs, a leadership. You know, Nikisha doesn't say too much. Leslie Johnson, very vocal for the Lady Toppers. McCulley and Walters jump it up, and Rita Williams controls for Connecticut.
Western Kentucky had an exhibition game. Leslie Johnson did not start in that game. She only came in with about 6 minutes left to go in the first half.
And Amy Duran scores quickly for Connecticut.
She's one player that Gino Auriemma has said that really needs to step up her game. She's going to start. She's a player that we need offense from. Losing Jamel Elliott is a big loss for her, and Carla Berube has got to get some rebounds inside and be a defensive player.
Both Berube and Sales can pass 1,000 points in their careers. They're both 5 and 6 points away from doing that. 3 seconds to call.
Kara Walters already passed it. Talked to Paul Sanderford and said, we'll mix up our defenses. We like to play man-to-man, but when you got a player like Kara Walters, you've got to play a little bit of zone, but you got a player like Amy Duran that'll help spread that defense out and you hit shots like that.
She's 2 for 2 and has put Connecticut up quickly, 5-0. Working on Walters, which is tough to do. McCulley with the offensive rebound.
You know, this is a new team for Western Kentucky with the new faces, and they have sat out a little bit last year as far as the transfers are concerned. So you've got players playing different positions. As a matter of fact, Lori Townsend really is a number 2 guard and has to play point. So there's some positions that Paul Sanderford is not as deep at.
Too hard from Sales. And Gamble controls the Lady Toppers. In and out for Townsend, Rita Williams with the rebound.
Townsend's got to knock that shot down, but a good wide open break situation for the Lady Toppers. First time Walters has touched the ball, she gets it down deep, and that's the one thing you've got to try and push her out a little bit more so she's not comfortable at getting the ball in that position. She's looking for the ball all the time. She has improved as far as her running game. That's why Connecticut is so tough on a break situation. She's set up right there and pushes right back inside and got that little hook.
She has improved so much from her freshman year. She was barely recruited out of high school, and it's just amazing to see every summer how much better she has gotten. She was an alternate on this past Olympic team.
It's really been fun to see her come along playing with Rebecca Lobo and not having to really kind of step up, but having those two in there at 6'5" and 6'7" made Connecticut so dominant. And then last year, Jen Rosati, the vocal leader, also, again, Jamel Elliott was very instrumental as far as the leadership on that team. And she's the type of player, she's not a mean kid, she's a tough kid, but she lets things roll off her shoulders a little bit.
Shay Lunsford coming in for Bronner for Western Kentucky. Knocked out of bounds, and it will remain Western Kentucky's ball.
On that entry pass, Western Kentucky's got to do a better job, maybe do bounce passes, because Kara Walters can knock the ball down when it's passed high.
10 seconds on the shot clock.
They call an offensive foul on Danielle McCulley. We talked about kind of it's not a new rule change, but the officials are really looking for it a little bit more as hand checking, and that time McCulley might have just knocked the hands off a little bit more for an offensive foul.
And she quickly picks up her second foul.
And the zone will help protect the players a little bit more. Defensively, not getting in the foul trouble. McCulley's going to have to watch it, but she's such an athletic player.
As you saw just there, stepping in front of the pass and going the length of the floor, but doesn't finish the shot.
Ariama was saying, we really don't know a lot about Western Kentucky. We didn't see film, and they are a completely different team than they were last year. But like any team or any coach will say, as long as you execute, doesn't matter what the other team does. For Western Kentucky, Paul Sandiford has always been known as a physical team. They're aggressive defensively. They go at you. And they may not be, quote, as tall as Connecticut, but they'll be all over you.
Good hands there by Sales, but she can't control it. And Townsend, she ties it up. Paul Sandiford was saying they're so happy the season started so they can beat up on someone else. They're tired of knocking each other around in practice. His 15th season, you see what he has done.
It was the first time in 11 seasons they had not made the NCAA tournament from last year.
Went instead to the NWIT. See the shot clock running down. Not going to get a shot off. Violation, it'll be Connecticut's ball.
We talked earlier with all these coaches, Paul Sandiford and Gino Ariema, Tara Vanderveer. Who's the other team? Anyway, Rick Moody. And they were basically saying is that this is our first game. The kids are excited. They want to beat out somebody else and get out there and play. But also, you're going to have a lot of mistakes, unforced errors. You're going to have a lot of fouls committed, silly fouls and bad passes. And hopefully you'll learn through the course of this first game. But it's such a great tournament to be a part of because of the caliber of play.
You find out in a hurry just how good you are. All four teams ranked in the top 10 for the Tip-Off Classic. Good ball movement by Connecticut. 10 seconds left on the shot clock. Duran will put it up again. Her first miss. Johnson the rebound.
Leslie Johnson doing a good job keeping Kara Walters away from the boards. She just had her body all over Walters. That was one thing Gino Ariema has said throughout Kara Walters' career is that, just because she's a big person, they call fouls on her. Well, because she's a big person, she gets beat up on too.
A lot of physical play underneath with Johnson and Walters. And Walters with the rebound.
They have tried to work with Kara Walters as far as keeping her hands up on defense and not getting called for pushing fouls. Use your body a little bit more.
And she's working down low. Kicks it back out to Berube. The basket and the foul. But they're going to call it offensive foul.
Sharonda Allen getting a good defensive position right here, coming over and helping out instead of going up for the block. The ball goes the other way.
And so it'll be Western Kentucky's ball when we come back. They're down early by 6. Early on in the first half of our second game of the Tip-Off Classic. It's Connecticut with a 6-point lead over Western Kentucky. Two top 10 teams as we take a look at the AP preseason top 10. 4 teams we're seeing in action here at Stanford. In our earlier game, it was Stanford prevailing over Alabama. Women's basketball doing just fine.
This year also was another year, you know, it was so bizarre last year to have the same 4 teams in that were in the year before, but there's so much parity now. There really is, and luck of the draw. I mean, you look at Georgia and Louisiana Tech had to meet, and somebody had to be knocked out, but there's teams that you think somebody's going to make it. I mean, on paper, you say, yeah, this team and this team and this team, but you just never know with the luck of the draw.
At least we know we'll be there in Cincinnati for the Final Four, so stay here at ESPN and ESPN2 all season long for women's basketball as Nikisha Sales fouled going to the basket.
Keisha Sales, this is where she's so strong, wide open on the wing, goes to the basket, does not finish a shot, which she usually does, and that's what also makes her such a strong player. To really, you've got to keep her guard up and get out on her defensively and cut that baseline off.
She averaged 16 points last year. Big East preseason player of the year. That started a little controversy. Many thought Carol Walters would be, but Nikisha Sales has been terrific against Big East foes.
Well, and again, things like that don't bother Carol Walters. She was not picked Kodak All-American last year. She did not make the Olympic team, but she comes out here, she plays hard, she has fun, she enjoys this Connecticut team. She has enjoyed totally her experience here. And if she makes Big East Player of the Year, then she'll be happy. If Nikisha makes it, she'll be happy for her too.
Coaches don't put a lot of stock in preseason polls. An 8-point lead for the Huskies. Down low to Johnson, working on Walters, and has her shot blocked.
It was a nice step back, but she couldn't get the shot off quick enough. She lost the balance. And Johnson trying to get back, and Williams is right in front of her. Just really a collision that Johnson did not try to do. Leslie Johnson, one of the knocks on her when she was at Purdue in her second year is that she was out of shape, out of condition, just couldn't get up and down the floor very well. She worked hard. As a matter of fact, she put on more weight when she quit playing at Purdue, and she's lost 60 pounds. And she's told you that, and she's worked hard. And Paul Sandiford has been a key. He has supported her, and that has been, I think, a big plus for her. She really respects him for that, for the support.
Well, Sandiford recruited her out of high school, but she chose to go to Purdue.
And played for him on the sports festival team.
Rita Williams, too hard. McCulley the rebound. Still an 8-point lead for Connecticut.
And there's Jamie Wallace, number 21, the freshman for Western Kentucky coming into the game, and they're very high on her. The 9th Miss Kentucky basketball that Western Kentucky has recruited.
She scored almost 5,000 points in high school. Incredible.
What's that 3-point line stuff, you know?
And Kelly Hunt is called for traveling by Connecticut. More hoops coming up here on ESPN. On Wednesday, the preseason Chase NIT with Princeton and Indiana at 7:30, St. Joe's and Duke at 9:30. Then at the Sports Center, it's Tulsa and Annie's old school, UCLA.
Oh, yeah.
Townsend controlling the offense for the Lady Toppers. Bronner back in.
Down to 8 seconds on the shot clock. They're just kind of doing a lot of dribbling out there.
Look a little out of sync. Townsend puts it up too hard. And Walters kicks it out to Rita Williams.
Oh, nice look right there. They're doubling down Western Kentucky against Carol Walters, and Nikisha Sales just floated down low.
She worked so well without the ball, and the baby hook by Walters too hard. Kelly Hunt battling inside. And Hunt over the back. It'll be Western Kentucky's ball.
Give credit to the Huskies, though, being aggressive on offense, attacking the offensive boards, kicking it back out, and running their play.
It's been a little slow in the early going, to be kind, Annie.
Well, neither team obviously shooting the ball well. And Connecticut has not really gotten Carol Walters the ball in the flow of the offense. She's gotten a couple shots off, but just really not in the flow, and you've got to give credit to Western Kentucky as far as the kind of defense that they're putting on her. They're really forcing it out and making other players beat them right now.
Sharonda Allen called for traveling.
But the turnovers don't help, too, as far as the change of possessions. And it's kind of hard for teams to get into a rhythm. You know, Mimi had mentioned about Rita Williams stepping in at that guard position. And Gino Auriemma has told the media, not only the team, there's a great shot by Hunt, but also the team and Rita that, hey, if you're not playing that good or whatever, I'm not going to pull you. Don't look over your shoulder. You make a mistake, go ahead. You are the point guard.
Actually, that basket was by Shea Ralph, the freshman, super freshman for Connecticut. Very skilled player.
She's a high school player of the year coming out of North Carolina, Fayetteville. She can play almost any position. As a matter of fact, at one point, I think Gino Auriemma is going to try and use her at the point guard if anytime Rita Williams goes down or foul trouble or whatever. She has the ball handling skills to be able to play that position.
And Kelly Hunt will take a seat for Connecticut with her second foul.
And for Western Kentucky, number 11, Yana Haikula.
Lady Hilltoppers not a up-tempo team, and Connecticut has been in the past when they've had Jen Rosati, and this game has really been a half-court game so far in this first half.
And Rita Williams tying it up, and the possession arrow in favor of Connecticut, tying it up with Townsend. Another freshman coming in, Stacy Hansmeyer. She broke her nose in the blue-white game. Little gift from another freshman, Paige Sauer. So she'll have to wear the mask for a couple more weeks. But Gino Auriemma very pleased with his freshman class. 20-second timeout, so we'll keep it here with Connecticut leading by 10. A little basketball, we got college football as well. Texas Christian and SMU over on ESPN. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. Two old Southwest Conference rivals go head-to-head for the first time as WAC teams. College football rivalry weekend on ESPN and ESPN2. Always a lot of fun when the season is winding down. You get to play your old rivals.
It's a good opportunity for Connecticut with Rita Williams taking a breather. Then Nikisha Sales will also work the point, as Shea Ralph, we talked about her maybe stepping into that spot, but Nikisha Sales is the other player that has worked a lot in practice at the point position.
Berube will put it up. And a three-pointer.
Early in this first half, Amy Duran knocked down two outside shots to kind of open up that middle a little bit for Connecticut, but they've got to pass the ball a little bit quicker to make that defense adjust.
Allen trying to create and fouled from behind.
Good penetration by Allen, taking it deep, not being intimidated by Kara Walters. And she may come up with a lot of blocked shots, but she also makes players adjust their shots. And think about what they're going to do when you've got somebody 6'7" there. And there's a great block by Kara Walters, stays after it, but she leaves her feet, and at 6'7", she shouldn't have to do that.
Both teams want to think it over, with Connecticut dominating a 13-point lead early on. Back here at Maples Pavilion, it's Connecticut with a comfortable 13-point lead over Western Kentucky. We haven't heard from Mimi. She's got a special guest who's doing a little recruiting.
Hey, Robin, how's this for a familiar face? Renee Brown, who was Tar Vanderveer's assistant with the U.S. national team last year, has moved on to new responsibilities as the director of player personnel for the new WNBA. What are your responsibilities?
Mimi, what my responsibilities are, I am here today assessing and evaluating all the seniors on the 4 teams. So what I'm doing is just watching the talent level of all the seniors.
Now, you have also recruited internationally as well as nationally, is that correct?
Yes, I just returned from Italy, and while over there, I was watching all of our American players, both All-Americans and Olympians play. I want to tell you this much, they were very excited about the WNBA being there.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm not sure about Robin, but I know Annie is somebody you ought to look into.
Hey, I still got game. All right, Annie, you are in the Hall of Fame. but you can see the WNBA games in the summer on ESPN. Leslie Johnson has it stolen by Nikisha Sales. But Ruby hooked it to the basket.
Connecticut really trying to pick up the pace of the game, keep it up-tempo.
And with that basket, she now has 1,000 points in her career at Connecticut.
We're talking about the WNBA. I know the ABL is going on right now, and there's been a lot of support for that. A lot of the players that played on the Olympic team and colleges throughout the country last year graduated are playing in it, but a lot of people are excited about the WNBA because it's not competing against anything.
Quickly is Sales. She now has 4 points, and attendance is awesome for the ABL. They're averaging about 5,000 a game league-wide. Terrific to see. Out to Townsend. It's batted around with Berube coming up for Connecticut. McCulley with the steal. Actually, it was a gift.
And Paige Sauer, number 41, one of the freshmen, another freshman for Connecticut. And we see Shea Ralph in the game. And Stacey Hansmeyer is also in, but at 6'5", Paige Sauer, one of the top recruits last year. Sharonda Allen trying to slow down things and comes up with a foul.
Her second foul in the game. Paul Sandifer's like, what now?
Things just are not clicking right now for Western Kentucky. They had a practice this morning, an hour shoot-around, but they went hard. Players were sweating, but he's done it for 13, 15 years since he's been here, and they don't do things differently. I mean, he works his players hard, and they play hard for him, too.
Lady Toppers are 10-0 when they open their season with a tournament or invitational such as the Tip-Off Classic. They haven't lost an opener since 1982, a 13-game winning streak. As far as openers in jeopardy right now.
And they play in a conference with one of the toughest teams in the country, Louisiana Tech, the Sun Belt Conference.
Lady Toppers have won 7 Sun Belt Conference finals. They're down by 15 midway through the first half.
And the other positive thing that Paul Sanford is excited about this team that they're going to learn this year, he's got a tough non-conference schedule. They play teams like UCLA and SC, Michigan State, Indiana, Montana, Iowa, Maine, Kentucky. Those are some tough teams in different leagues.
Get you ready for the postseason.
And that's what it's all about, and the top coaches know that. Carol Walters behind a three-point shot.
Way out from behind.
Get her inside.
Hansmeyer called for traveling.
And she broke her nose a couple weeks ago in practice. She's an aggressive player. Gina Auriemma knows that she's going to contribute to this team, but sometimes that mask really takes away with your concentration as far as where you are in the court.
And she goes out, and Amy Moran comes back in. She says she wants to be the Jamel Elliott of this team, Stacey Hansmeyer, and that's saying a lot. Jamel Elliott, along with Jenny Rosati, seniors from last year, 1,000+ points and rebounds. Jamel Elliott's so underrated.
She really was, and I think a lot of people that knew Connecticut's team and knew what kind of instrumental player she was, but she didn't get the publicity, obviously, when you got someone like Jen Rosati, and before that, Rebecca Lobo, to take away a lot of the spotlight. Jamel didn't mind that.
5 seconds on the shot clock. Yeah, that's true.
They have tried to get the ball inside to Leslie Johnson. She's done some good things when she's gotten it, but either time has run out, or there's a travel, or there's some kind of unforced error, and that's where the Lady Hilltoppers are struggling. I think they're working so hard on defense, by the time they get down on offense, they're kind of like in disarray a little bit.
They're down by 15 with 8.5 to go in the first half. Rita Williams working on the freshman too hard. McCulley another rebound.
She missed that shot, but what a great shot, too, and she needs to take shots like that within the offense for Connecticut.
Townsend will put it up and put it down.
A dry spell for a long time.
Inside to Walters, who's been rather quiet, and it's going to be called for the foul. Trying to create some space. and knocks McCulley down. That's her second foul.
Gino Auriemma has worked with Kara Walters as far as passing. Look at, you get it inside, double team, triple team, you got to kick it back out. And Gino has said she's not going to foul out this year.
Has guaranteed it. But then he amended it and said
team.
at home,
At home.
she's not going to foul out. But she has fouled here, her second in the game. Her team, though, up by 13. Back here at Maples Pavilion, Connecticut leading Western Kentucky by 13. Mimi is with someone who knows this building oh so well.
Hey, Robin, this place is jammed with talent. Jennifer Azzi, former Stanford player, former member of the U.S. gold medal winning Olympic team. Jennifer, I think the obvious question right now is what happened to your wing here?
My wing's not doing too well right now. I was in a game a couple of nights ago playing against Portland, and I mean the league has been really, really physical this year, and I was going up for a layup, and someone kind of came under and pushed me out of bounds, and it's something that could have happened, you know, at any time in my career. I just feel like it's terrible timing. I landed right on my shoulder.
You mentioned a league that's the ABL, the new women's professional league that's playing right now. How's it going so far?
Oh, the league has been incredible. Our fan support has been much more than they ever expected. We've had great sponsorship, and the basketball has been incredible. I think everyone that's come to our games has been so excited about the ABL.
Oh, we wish you well with the recovery from your shoulder injury.
Thanks a lot.
Good luck.
Yeah, I've taken a couple of ABL games. They're a lot of fun to watch, that's for sure.
Well, you know, so I played a long time ago in the WBL when that was around, and how Jennifer says, well, it's a little rough, but I mean, hey, welcome to the big leagues, girl. It's pros, and when you're a top player, you're coming off the gold medal team, there's other players that haven't had as much recognition. You get headhunted. I mean, players are going after you, and it becomes very physical. It's part of the game, and hopefully the officials are taking care of it, but the pros is a different level than international and college.
And she's finding that out in a hurry. She must have fond memories of being here in Maples Pavilion.
There are a lot of ABL players here, a lot of Stanford players. Sonia Henning, Anita Kaplan, Kay Pay were here, and still watching the games. And it's fun to see a lot of players come back and support their school.
Jamie Walls, the freshman, too hard. Connecticut trying to control
and trying to make things happen.
Knocks it out of bounds. It'll remain the Lady Toppers ball. Auriemma in his 12th season at Connecticut. Shea Lunsford too much, and Berube with the rebound.
Lunsford coming off a big sophomore year for Western Kentucky. She's one of their key players.
Their leading rebounder from last year.
That is the part of the game that Rita Williams has been very hard this summer, is a three-point shot, her outside shot. She wasn't asked to be called upon to shoot that shot that much last year because Jen Rosati handled the ball so much, but she knows that she has to hit it to open things up.
And Johnson again called for traveling.
Well, they have called a lot of traveling on Western Kentucky in this first half.
And that's a fourth violation by Leslie Johnson. ESPN2 boxing, the vacant WBF Junior Middleweight Intercontinental Championship. Charles Bam Bam Whittaker against Chris Rosie Rosenbaum.
Yeah, Bam Bam or Bam Bam?
Bam Bam, Bam Bam.
Boxing, the wacky world of boxing. Too much from McCulley. Rita Williams is called for the offensive foul.
And one thing Rita Williams will learn is control. She needs to be a little bit more under control. She made a nice move, but she was going forward. You could tell the defense is right there. She needs to stop, be under control, or get rid of the ball earlier. And as a point guard, which she was a tremendous point guard at Mitchell Junior College, she was first team National Junior College All-American. And she had some good experience last year with Connecticut, but again, she wasn't the main ball handler.
She learned from one of the best, Jen Rosati. Williams kicks it out of bounds. Fresh 30 for Western. Amy Duran goes out for Tammy Arnold. Now in her sophomore year. You see from the field, Western Kentucky just 3 of 15. Connecticut not much better.
No, not at all. The three freshmen this year for Connecticut have added some depth for Gino Auriemma, which he felt he did not have last year. Against Tennessee in that overtime game, the semifinal game they lost, he felt that if they had had another big body, like a Paige Sauer or Kara Walters who got in foul trouble, that would have been to their advantage.
What hands by Nikisha Sales. And she draws the foul as well.
And the freshman, Jamie Walsh, gets the ball stripped, And Nikisha Sales uses her body, bumps Walsh out of there, and Walsh, instead of letting Sales go in for the easy 2 points, here you see the nice strip right there. Walsh going, watch Nikisha Sales bump her right there, get her off her, and then you've got no chance to block that. Let him go. 1, you send her to the free throw line, and you pick up a foul.
She's a 70% free throw shooter. She had 104 steals last year. She averaged 3 steals a game. Such a headsy player.
Broke Jen Rosati's record, 102 the year before.
She now has 7 points, and so Nikisha Sales has surpassed 1,000 points in her career. In just 74 games, she's done that. Turn around by Johnson.
Johnson's getting that ball inside, and she kind of takes that dip and takes a shot, but Lady Hilltopper's only getting 1 shot at the basket. Obviously, a lot of frustration with Paul Sunderford, the way his team's playing. Maybe so. I know they're playing hard. They're not getting the breaks, but you've got to go in at halftime and maybe execute a little better. Talk about that. They're not doing a bad job in keeping Connecticut off the boards, but you've got to take care of the basketball and execute your offense.
And the steal by Walsh. Townsend will control it for the Lady Toppers.
They try to look inside, get that ball inside to Johnson. She's got a quick shot.
And that's her first basket as a Lady Topper.
With 4:50 left to go in that first half.
Connecticut up by 13. Big time shot by Berube. She now has 7. Now picks up a dribble.
They really look unsure as far as their offense. Handling the ball as far as putting it on the floor and dribbling it. Townsend's been a nice spot for them. She's hit her outside shots when she's gotten open. She looks good and has gotten some open shots, but they need to get more of that.
Sauer too strong. And it's off McCulley's hands.
Break's just not going for Western Kentucky.
Not going Western Kentucky's way right now. Down 13, 4 left to go in the first half. It's Western Kentucky with just 11 first half points. They're down by 13 to Connecticut. Just under 4 minutes left to go until halftime. Got hockey here on ESPN2 on Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific. Mike Gardner among the league leaders in goal scored, leading Phoenix against Colorado. Game time, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific. Paige Sauer, 21 points she averaged her senior year of high school. Showing a lot of poise here in her first game for Connecticut. Townsend trying to come up with a steal. And the Lady Toppers control.
At the expense of Western Kentucky right now in this first half, unfortunately for them, it allows Connecticut to use some of their younger players and get some experience to play in a tough game like this.
And Bronner gets the bounce. Catch it, Robin. The ball was headed our way, but thankfully the official stepped in the way.
Shows you how strong Nikisha Sales is, falling out of bounds. Get a hand on the ball right there. She's falling out of bounds and threw it almost to you.
She draws the foul nonetheless, and will go to the line. Tammy Arnold going out. Amy Duran coming back in for the Connecticut Huskies. UConn's second appearance in the Tip-Off Classic. They were #1 in the preseason last year, lost to Louisiana Tech in Knoxville in overtime. As Gino said, book in overtime losses. They begin the year with an overtime loss and then end the year with that thrilling game against Tennessee in the Final Four. Nikisha Sales was awesome in that game.
And she was the one that sent it into overtime, hit that shot at the top of the key.
Gino Auriemma said, he just knew they had it won. When he said when Nikisha made that shot, just felt for an OT. They do it, but no. Pat Summit, Lady Vols they're not going to beat us 4 times in a row. They went on to the national championship. So 13-point lead for Connecticut. Duran called for the foul, her first. Coming up on the Lee Jeans halftime report, we'll hear from Mimi again. Tara Vanderveer and Rick Moody, 2 coaches from our first game. We'll stop by and talk with Mimi. Talk about the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, among other things. Walls at the line. 4,948 points in high school, though she did play since the 7th grade. All-time scoring leader in Kentucky, and that is saying something if you're the all-time leader in Kentucky high school history.
And she's already been chosen the preseason newcomer of the year.
Gets her team within 12. Almost loses control. Bullet to Durant. Too soft.
And again, Connecticut gets the bounce.
They get all the breaks right now.
Sometimes when you don't shoot the ball well, too, it affects everything else. It's just like Murphy's Law.
Chain reaction. Durant being tied up, but gets it out to Sauer.
Big block.
Partially blocked. But stays with it. 3 seconds is the call. Now Western Kentucky's getting fired up.
A nice thing to happen for Western Kentucky. Tasha Bonner comes up with a nice block and keeps the ball alive, and then they get called for the 3 seconds.
Not easy to block the shot of a 6'5" player. Johnson working in the paint. She's getting on track now.
She's so good with her back to the basket, but you see how high she's coming to get it, and then they've got to kind of clear things out, but she'll wheel and deal, and she will get it at the free throw line. She'd like to get a little deeper, but she is a physical player.
Oh, Nikisha Sales never came down. Such athletic ability. She now has 11.
You'd like to see more of those type of things. Plenty of opportunities for the players to get tip-ins rather than going up and getting the rebound and coming back down for it.
Especially on this floor.
No question. We saw Western Kentucky. They were funny yesterday at practice, and they were all grabbing the rim, and Alabama was trying to go up there and grab the rim. And they like this floor.
Johnson with her 6th point. Her team's still down by 10. Sales, who stays with it.
What a great play, though, too, because everybody, the defense was so concerned about Paige Sauer down low that opened up Nikisha Sales down low on that baseline. She's so tough underneath there.
She's everywhere. And the easy 2. Now with 15 in the first half.
Sales just sneaks behind on that baseline. She's tough inside with her back to the basket. She'll go in and challenge people.
Western finds itself back down by 14, under a minute to go into the Lee Jeans halftime report. Johnson trying to create.
Oh, what a great step back. She uses her feet so well. She's got great footwork.
5th time she's been called for traveling. And you have to keep in mind, as you see the fellow transfer from Purdue, McCulley, a 20-second timeout, but with Leslie Johnson, she played a full year in 94 Purdue, played a partial season in 95, had to sit out all of last year. So it's taking her some time to get it readjusted to the game.
Not only that, but we talked about the weight that she had put on. She played 14 games at Purdue her sophomore year, and a lot of problems over there. She admits she takes some of the blame for it, but she also feels that there were other people for blame what happened, and she won't go into it. She keeps everything quiet, which you've got to respect that. And I'm sure with a little bit of a depression, she put on the weight, and then she went back into the weight room and was dieting. And as we said, Paul Sanford just supported her, and she's come back, and her conditioning is going to take a while.
And she has worked extremely hard. She averaged 18 points, 9 rebounds as a freshman. She was the NCAA Freshman of the Year, leading Purdue to the Final Four in '94.
And the players respect that. She comes out to play every time. It's one of the reasons she got the nickname Baby Bark. And Charles Barkley, people respect him for his work ethic, and that's exactly what Leslie Johnson has. I keep saying Lisa Leslie.
Leslie Johnson.
Who had a pretty good work ethic, too.
Yes, that's what Leslie did. McGinnis. And Sales going high for the rebound. And going hard is Shea Ralph.
Shea Ralph just taking it down the middle. Nobody stops her, picks her up high. You've got to stop the ball out front.
Showing a lot of poise for a freshman. 5 seconds left to go in the first half. And Townsend with a big basket for Western Kentucky. Her 7th point. But it's Western Kentucky trailing Connecticut 34-20. Come on back for the Lee Jeans halftime report, everyone.
ESPN2's presentation of NCAA basketball is brought to you by State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
And back here at Maples Pavilion for the second half between Western Kentucky and Connecticut, and it has been all Connecticut from the tip. They have a 14-point halftime lead, partly because of Nikisha Sales with 15 first half points, and she can hurt you in so many different ways.
Well, she can hit that outside shot. She drives to the basket so well. She'll cut to the basket and look for passes. She gets the ball inside. She rebounds. She does so many things for you. And again, we talked about her quietness and her demeanor on the floor, and she is so strong in helping them out.
And you see what Connecticut has done the last 3 years. 99 wins, just 7 losses.
Not too shabby.
No,
Record.
that is an NCAA record for most victories over a 3-year period.
And this will be their 100th win for this class.
And ringing up the numbers for Sales. Get it, ringing up the numbers, Sales.
Ring, ring.
Hey, it's a second game of a doubleheader.
It's preseason. Oh, it's not preseason. The season started, but
There you go.
it's early.
Tipping off for us as well. Second half underway. Western Kentucky controlling. The freshman Jamie Walls quickly scoring for the Lady Toppers.
Good penetration by Walls, just taking it right in there. Talk about two players, Bronner and Gamble, did not get a lot of playing time in that first half.
Neither did Kara Walters with 2 fouls that she got, but she quickly scores here. Just her 5th point.
Kara Walters is going to be a player that will be in a lot of games for Connecticut this year. Paul Sandiford was saying, well, what about Connecticut? And he said, Kara Walters, Kara Walters, Kara Walters.
And it's Kara Walters with the rebound. And Rita Williams is knocked down by Shea Lunsford.
You really have to look at the character of the Lady Hilltoppers as far as coming out second half. Yeah, they're down there. You know, it's not that big a deficit either, though. They put things together, and you've got to get some kids that just kind of like pick it up. And we know that Leslie Johnson is that type of player, but the other kids have to step up their game a little bit more.
Sales gets it back from Duran. Smart play there. Hard to the basket. And Leslie Johnson is called for the blocking foul.
Again, it shows you how quick Nikisha Sales is. When you've got that good a player, you get the ball inside. We're going to see the offensive play by Walters kind of setting an illegal screen a little bit. And Johnson not getting over there quick enough. Did not have the angle. But Nikisha Sales, we missed the handoff. And that's what was so good, was that give and go. Because I don't think initially it started out that way. But Amy Duran was smart enough to give the ball to Sales going to the basket.
Sales now with 16 points in the game. Averaged 16 last year as a sophomore, super sophomore. Plays with so much poise.
She really does. She doesn't seem to get rattled too much. And Gino Auriemma was telling us, too, that last year, that Tennessee game was a turning point for her. She really is like, okay, I'm the player now, and I've got to start making things happen.
And making things happen right now is Jamie Walls, her 5th point for Western.
Oh, a little carryover, but Rita Williams gets away with it. So one thing I think the women's game and the men's game has, too, is that a lot of that palming has really gotten away.
And Gino Auriemma not too pleased with Rita Williams' shot selection.
Paul Sanderford yelling at his team to move, 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 and they're a little slow. They're that half step slow. Is there conditioning there yet? Well, he's more concerned about it in February or March, but they've got to move a little quicker to get to their spots on the offense.
Jamie Walls trying to come up with the steal, but call for the foul instead. Her 2nd foul. Shea Ralph, the freshman coming back in. Rita Williams takes a seat next to Chris Daly.
Well, Rita Williams sitting, but he says, you know, she's the best athlete. She was a better athlete than Jen Rosati was. There's no question about that. Many of the players will tell you the same thing, but Jen Rosati knew how to make the decisions and knew how to control the offense.
What a spin move by McCullough, and draws the foul on Carol Walters, her 3rd.
We didn't see much of that in the first half. Danielle McCulley really had a tough first half. Nice spin move. We talked about her athleticism, and goes right into Walters, and she's going, where? But, you know, again, we talk about the type of kid that she's, again, in that Tennessee game last year, in the semifinals, in the Final Four, she felt that her complaints really went on deaf ears. And she said, you know, I'm not going to do that again, because obviously it doesn't do any good to the officials either.
And so Walters takes a seat with her 3rd foul. McCulley at the line. You hear more about Leslie Johnson, but Danielle McCulley also at Purdue. 4 tournament games in '95, 13 points, 7.5 rebounds. She now has 6 points in this game. The 12-point lead for Connecticut.
They've gone into the man-to-man in the second half out of that zone. Also, Carol Walters is out of the game.
For Ruby, can't get it to go, and Townsend controls it for the Toppers.
It's really important defensively to get position rather to go up and get a block, which a lot of players have a tendency to do. That time, Bronner had good defensive position, thought about going up for the block, and really created that turnover.
Across to Townsend. Boy, big shot from her.
And quick ball movement by the Lady Hilltoppers. They need to have good, quick passes to open things up.
Townsend now has 9, and her team is within 10. The defense by the Toppers, but Sauer controls it and gives it over to Berube.
What a heads-up play by the freshman, Paige Sauer. Rolling to the basket, getting a handle on it, and seeing the open player.
Berube now with 9 points.
Oh, good double team.
Never saw Nikisha Sales from behind the finger roll.
Sales just comes out of nowhere. You see Townsend chasing her offensive player away. She goes away, and the double team comes. She's not able to get rid of the basketball. Great play by Nikisha Sales.
Back up to a 14-point lead. Same lead they had at the half for Connecticut. And Nikisha Sales again with a steal. But Sauer is there. Didn't use a left hand.
No, and I'm sorry to laugh at it, but you can when you have this kind of lead. But
She knows.
Yeah.
She knows she blew it. She's even laughing at herself.
it was an assist for Sauer.
There you have it. But nonetheless, it's Connecticut now with a 16-point lead. Women's hoops here on the Deuce, the State Farm Hall of Fame Tip-Off Classic, the second game of our doubleheader. Stanford won the first game over Alabama, and Nikisha Sales so deceptive on defense.
Well, we talked about her defense as far as what she did as a freshman and sophomore, led the Big East. Over 100 steals both years, and she's so quick. She lays back, and as an offensive player, you've got to see the court. and she just sneaks right in there. She gives a nice power move, a little bit too hard. She knows she made a mistake, but with this kind of lead, I guess you can afford to do it. But 2 quick steals in a row.
And this year numbers 19 points, 4 assists, and 60 for the junior.
Western Kentucky had made a nice move against Connecticut, and then all of a sudden they just came out of nowhere, the Huskies, and just boom.
Ooh. Western had gotten to within 10. Bronner taking one for the team.
Tasha Bronner, the 6'3" senior, sets a nice pick, and Shea Ralph just comes through it and said, hey, get out of my way.
Quick baseline move from Townsend to Walls.
Well, Jamie Walsh is really going to be a nice addition to this Western Kentucky team. A lot of playing time, 5'11" freshman.
Shea Ralph, the freshman for Connecticut, responding.
Take that back.
She now has 7.
Freshman's going at it.
McCulley hard. Didn't mean to go behind her back. Sales comes up with it. And Walls just steps in front and draws the foul.
Walls tried to get out of the way, didn't want to get in the way.
Instead, she picks up her 3rd foul. And Carol Walters comes back in. She also has 3 fouls. 15 to go the ball game. Connecticut is led all the way, up by 17 now.
This has been a good game for Gino Auriemma and also Carol Walters. She's got 3 personal fouls. We're going to see all season long foul trouble might happen, and said that she's not going to foul out, but they need to put her in the game and see what kind of team they are. Obviously, they're a completely different team with Carol Walters in. He said when she comes out of the game, we're like everybody else.
She's called for traveling. Western's ball.
Who's got 33?
Quick hands by Sales again. Johnson triple team. That's a play by Townsend to McCulley. Too soft though. And Rita Williams comes away with it. Nice bounce pass.
Hansmeyer missing the layup, but again, Connecticut very strong on the offensive board.
And Shea Ralph going hard. Going underneath her own bench.
Walters, 6'7", so tall, keeping the ball alive, knocking it out. You see Walls, not Walls, going after Shea Ralph and also Christy Hartley.
Campbell coming in for Western Kentucky, and Jamie Walls taking a seat. Shea Ralph spots up. And the rebound by McCulley again.
Shea Ralph is going to get a lot of minutes for this Husky team this year.
But Gino says he never wants to rely on the freshmen. He just wants it to be a bonus, anything they're able to do. Johnson, the power move, nothing doing.
And that's a smart play by Carol Walters. That play in the past was, a little walking music there. But Carol Walters in the past probably would have gotten called for a foul because she would have gone for the block. You wanted to jump up in the air. At 6'7", you don't have to jump up in the air. Here she stays down, hands her up, hands her up, hands her up. She's got her knees bent, little bunny hop right there.
Watch the double, Shea! Good Shea!
15 on the shot clock. 17-point lead for Connecticut. Baseline, Hartley.
When Western Kentucky gets good ball movement, they get wide open shots.
Looking inside to Walters, the baby hook. And she's fouled. She's really developed that baby hook shot. And that's Johnson's 3rd foul.
Listen, Johnson down low. Carol Walters is swinging it back to her side. See how Walters gets inside the key, so she's a little bit closer to the basket? Because once she gets the ball, then the defense usually is so physical with her, they push her out a little bit further.
Carol Walters worked on her free throw shooting over the summer. She's a 58% shooter last year from the line. Nice touch there.
And she really didn't go to the line as much as you would think that a post player should. And that's one of the reasons that Gino Auriemma has said that, hey, just because she's a big kid doesn't mean that she does not get fouled.
And she knocks them both down, building the Connecticut lead to 16. Too hard by Johnson. Shea Ralph controlling. A nice move there by the freshman, drawing the foul. Paul Sandiford is like, what's happening?
Take me out to the golf course. Shea Rao, a little hesitation. Defense dropped off her. It looked like she might have pulled up for it. And then when the defense dropped off, she took it to the basket.
And so Ralph will go to the line to shoot 2.
We had a chance to see Jennifer Azzi earlier with Mimi's interview. And one player that Shea Ralph has always admired, her favorite player, is Jennifer Azzi.
Great role model.
Tell you what, Jennifer Azzi from Tennessee. There she is. She's going to have surgery, probably be out 4 months.
Showing a little pressure to begin with and backing off. Johnson looking inside, has a block by Walters.
She made a nice
Had
move,
it stolen.
but then her players just couldn't watch her. She's got to make a cut.
And normally Carol Walters does a good job of keeping the ball up above her, but she definitely knocked in the face.
Bloody nose.
She,
Oh, she's going down.
almost losing consciousness, it seems.
It was scary. We did a game last year, and Angie Potoff from Penn State just collapsed on the floor. She was okay, but
It definitely seems more serious than it first appeared.
Leslie Johnson, you see her going fake right there. Where did she get hit? There. I don't know whether it's the eye, the nose, or the mouth.
Seems like she was
It could have
already
been the hand of Shea Lunsford coming across. And it was an open hand, it wasn't a fist. But it could have hit her on the bridge of the nose or hit her in the eye, or
but she definitely started to lose consciousness and went down to the floor.
we'll see on the left side Shea Rao, the blonde, coming in. Number 30, there she is reaching up. And then as she follows through, right there, she hits her in the face somewhere.
You see a little on the bridge of her nose. Taking contact out of her eye, always scary. But she does seem to be all right. Always scary when you see something like that happen.
Yeah, I didn't like the way her legs buckled.
We've got a new baby in the ESPN family. It's ESPN News. 24 hours of sports news every day. 24 hours. Contact your local cable operator or satellite provider for ESPN News. Still working on Walters on the sidelines now.
Into the game for UConn, number 41, Paige Sauer. She replaces Carol.
Just a little dizzy. Good to see her smile, though.
Yeah.
It's a 17-point lead for the Huskies. Amy Duran, not shy about shooting. Jamie Walls will put it up.
Not shy about shooting.
No. The long rebound out. It's Connecticut's ball. getting checked out a little bit. You know, they went out and saw the 49ers, and Steve Young, who's not playing in the game today against Baltimore because of concussions. It's a big thrill for them to meet the
highlight.
Niners. Oh, yeah.
Chris Daly shook Steve Young and Jerry Rice's hand and said, oh, we can go home now. We don't need to play. Our trip is made.
Oh, McCauley almost coming up with a steal. 9 seconds on the shot clock for Connecticut. And Rita Williams puts it up for 3. Sauer getting position. Durand doing a good job of trying to save it on her own basket, but off a Husky. So it'll be Western Kentucky's ball as Kara Walters continues to be taken care of on the sideline. And back here at Maples Pavilion, Connecticut leading Western Kentucky 51-34. The Huskies a bit of a scare a few moments ago when Kara Walters, battling under the basket, got knocked in the face and was down for several minutes, but then got attended to on the sideline, and time for the doctor to make a house call. Mimi, what's up?
Hey, Robin, I wish I were a doctor, but Kara Walters got hit on the bridge of her nose with an elbow. It actually, though, was a contact problem. Her contacts rolled back in her eyes, and that's what was causing the difficulty. The trainer, Alicia, told me that as soon as they got the contacts back in place, they checked her vision. No need to worry about concussion or anything else. She's fine.
She seems to be enjoying the physical examination
That's right,
very much.
That's right. Well, you know, it's so funny how, you know, you thought it was an elbow, the way she was slapped in the face, but we were fortunate enough, again, a great replay to see that it was an open hand.
Too much from Walls. And Connecticut controls Rita Williams quickly to Amy Durand. Shea Ralph looking and has it blocked by McCauley, but she draws the foul, and the freshman will go to the line. And coming back in as well, Lakeisha Sales going in for Amy Durand.
Danielle McCauley, big block, and you know, there was an attitude about that Purdue team that went to the Final Four, and you know, they had the tattoos, and they were just, there was a certain attitude, and I think McCauley and Johnson have brought that with them. And also Jennifer McGinnis, who we have not seen, she's got a little bit of an injury right now, but she's also transferred from Duke, and you've got that experience, and hopefully it will carry on to the younger players.
And Shea Ralph makes them both. Their biggest lead, a 19-point lead for Connecticut. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Johnson down low. Good baseline move.
She is really tough to defend because of that fadeaway. If you go out on her, that fadeaway is kind of like a Hakeem Olajuwon shot. But she's so strong and has good balance, she'll come back inside on you.
And she now has 10 points in the game. Long pass over to Williams. Sowers can't control it. But it remains the Huskies' ball. They'll have 8 seconds on the shot clock to work with. Hansmeyer goes out, and Kelly Hunt comes in replace for Gino Auriemma.
Keisha Sales, you can hear throughout the gym, come on, move. And when that player is taking the ball out of bounds, there's got to be a hand slap on the ball or something to make teammates cut.
Only a second on the shot clock. It's not they didn't realize they only had 8 seconds to work with. I told them.
And that's right.
Tried
they didn't listen to you, Robin.
I told them.
Or Gino should have. Come on, Gino, be vocal out there.
He has been very vocal. When we saw them in shoot-arounds yesterday, and we were trying to eat lunch.
He was animated.
They were bothering us because they were so noisy, and we couldn't remember a time. But last year with Jim Rosati and Jamel Elliott, they were very vocal. And Gino and his staff did not have to be as vocal, but they were very animated in practice. Seems to be paying off.
Animated, though.
This is true. Oh, the move by Sales ahead to Shea Ralph. Sales has such court savvy, knowing where her teammates are on the floor.
She is one player that has really stepped up a level in this game. I mean, she's the one player that has stood out. So there was reason the coaches in the Big East picked her as the preseason Big East Player of the Year.
She's certainly playing like it right here. The battle between Hunt and McCulley. Possession arrow in favor of Connecticut. And Kara Walters will come back in.
Rita Williams turns, and there you see Shea Ralph making the defense turn, and ball lands up in Nikisha Sales' hands, and she just tosses it down for a Steve Young, Jerry Rice play.
The combination worked. As I said, Walters back in the game now. She has 3 fouls. Hunt working on McCulley. Sales challenging Townsend.
Hands off!
McCulley will put it up from 3.
Come on now, Broad, come on!
She now has 9 in the game. Quickly to Walters, who gathers it in and is called for traveling.
What's so hard is that when Kara Walters gets the ball down low, she gets triple teamed, she brings the ball down low and causes her off balance. When you've got that many people around you, it's hard to get the ball back out. Somebody's got to cut also.
It's a 16-point lead for Connecticut. Just over 9 left to go here in the Tip-Off Classic. Come on back, everyone. Three straight years, the Connecticut Huskies have had a record of 30 wins or better, 2 straight trips to the Final Four. What's this team like, Gino?
This group, much more emotional, much more flamboyant in a lot of ways, much more kind of giddy, you know, in some ways, like wow, you know, like we can do this, and it's kind of fun to see.
And a lot more people will be able to see him at home, Gampel Pavilion. They led the nation in attendance last year at Gampel. They've added a couple thousand more seats, over 10,000 now. Quite a program that Gino Auriemma has built in 12 years at Connecticut.
You can really see what he's talking about, too, when you've got a player like Jen Rosati. She was always under control, per se, and she was so vocal and intense. This team is a little bit, as he said, giddier, and you get that with Kara Walters, and you get that with Nikisha Sales.
Nikisha Sales now has 21 points to go along with 6 assists and 8 steals.
I was going to say, we just saw that commercial on Gary Payton, and Gary Payton is the one player that Nikisha Sales really admires.
10 seconds on the shot clock, and McCulley gets it down. She now has 11.
Doesn't have too bad a game up there.
No, she doesn't.
Oh, I wanted to see a lob.
Still 2 points, though, for Kara Walters.
Good heads-up play by Sales to get it to her.
It's an 18-point lead now, and the steal by Williams. Little scoop-de-doo. McCulley controls them. Nikisha Sales still battling. And Penix and Berube tied up. Possession arrow in favor of Western Kentucky. Gino, you're winning by 18.
Give me a call.
Always animated. That's why he's won 75% of his games in 12 years.
And that's why you like watching him coach, because he never stops.
No, he's constantly coaching. Not a bad recruiter either. Shea Ralph coming in, Kara Walters, who no one really thought would do much in college. Great length of the floor pass. Walters over the back. Is going to draw her 4th foul.
And not a bad recruit there. Jamie Walsh coming down with a little over-the-shoulder catch and bringing it down. A little spin move inside. She misses the basket, but still, nice move by the freshman.
And so Walters is going to come out because, remember, Gino said she will not foul out this year. Paige Sauer coming in. The freshman replacing the senior. Tough opener for Kara.
Well, he knows that he doesn't have a player in this game, obviously, with this kind of lead and the way the tempo has gone, unless Western Kentucky can really turn things around and hit some shots and start making a move.
Western Kentucky showing a lot of hustle, though. Especially Christy Hartley right there.
2 goals that Paul Sandiford said he wants his team for this year is to get back into the NCAA tournament and also to stay into the top 10 all season long. That's important for his team to give them confidence.
Ahead to Nikisha Sales. Trying to challenge Townsend.
And look at her handle the rock.
She was trying to get it back out, was fouled. Paul Sandiford again, 13 straight wins to open the season, but not going his way in this season opener.
Obviously, this game has been a struggle for him to watch in the sense of the way his team is executed per se, but I think you got to go back to the basics, and you're going to come out of this game with a lot of pluses because you're going to see things that you have to work on. And again, it's early. He knows that this team is young, and as far as working together, and it's going to take some time for the chemistry to get there.
Sales makes them both with 23 points in the game.
Oh, nice
Johnson,
pass.
yes. Excellent pass from Hartley to Johnson.
Christy Hartley, only a sophomore out of New Mexico. She was the high school player of the year there. Paul Sandiford has said that she's really the heart of this team. She played center in high school and has had to adjust her game, but she makes a nice pass to Leslie Johnson on the trail.
She's always around the ball. You see 16 free throw attempts, 16 made for Connecticut, and just Western hasn't gone to the line nearly as much, making 3 of them.
That's where Leslie Johnson was so good at getting to the free throw line. And for any kind of team, you've got to learn how to, and we saw in the Alabama game, like a Dominique Canty goes to the free throw line. You've got to learn how to create fouls.
The 17-point lead for Connecticut with 7 minutes left to go. Second game of our doubleheader. Women's Tip-Off Classic and Berube called for traveling. Next Saturday, my birthday, but also ESPN2 college football.
Again.
Yeah, 29, the 9th anniversary of my 29th birthday. Rivalry weekend continues with West Virginia and Virginia Tech, South Carolina and Clemson and Iowa and Minnesota. Plenty of college football, as always, right here on The Deuce.
So you are young enough to play in the WNBA.
You have me confused. Nikisha Sales with her second foul.
Keisha Sales only 2 fouls, and how aggressive she has been on defense. It's pretty impressive.
She always plays in control. Walls putting up from way downtown. And Townsend coming back with it for the Toppers. And good hands by Rita Williams. Tries to save it. It'll remain the Lady Toppers ball.
It really was kind of a fun series to watch for Connecticut, even though they didn't come up with a basket. Some good steals.
Checking in for Western Kentucky, number 54, Tasha Bonner, and number 30, Shay Lunsford.
Good quick hands by Rita Wilson. Obviously getting Townsend on the arm too, but she's out of bounds. So a makeup call to bring her back home.
And Rita Williams putting her arms up, but couldn't do anything against McCullen, who has 13.
She's really got nice lift, and she's got to remember to follow through higher. Sometimes she just falls short on the follow through. Because we've seen a lot of her shots fall short.
The Lady Toppers are going to get back in it. They can't trade baskets. They need to make a defensive stop, make a run of their own. 5 seconds on the shot clock as Sales takes the shot. And it's Western's ball.
Western Kentucky needs to take advantage, too, of a situation with Carol Walters out of the game to go inside.
And Connecticut taking a 20-second timeout. They're leading by 15. Just under 6 minutes left to go.
when you're down by this much, I think as a team, you've got to be positive, just run your offense, try and set some more back picks, and go inside, especially as we said, with Carol Walters out of the game, and go at somebody like Paige Sauer, who's a freshman, try to get to the free throw line. On the other hand, Connecticut cannot lose their intensity, and I don't think you do that with Nikisha Sales out there. She just gives you 40 minutes. And I think that's the one thing also that Gino Auriemma has told us in the past with his team. When the freshmen come in up to playing Division I, and any coach will tell you that, as far as what you need to give in practice, it's a different level, the concentration. You have to carry that out onto the floor when you're playing the game.
Rita Williams has really worked on her game during the summer, knowing she was going to come in for Jen Rosati. And you don't replace a Jen Rosati, and she now knows that no one's expecting her to do that, just to be her own player. Foul called on Williams, her third.
Townsend doing a good job. Western Kentucky spread the floor a little bit. They set up that play coming out to 22nd. They want to call and set up another offensive play. They spread the floor. Townsend handles the ball well, coming inside. The defense has to help out because she'll shoot the ball, and she looks to get it inside, but there's the foul.
More hoops on ESPN on Wednesday. Preseason Chase NIT with Princeton and Indiana doing battle at 7:30 Eastern Time. Followed by St. Joe's and number 10 Duke, Tulsa, and UCLA at midnight. Triple header on ESPN. College basketball is back on ESPN and ESPN2. Stanford players just taking a little bit of a rest.
Flores, the freshman, and Kate Starbird, who had a scare.
Kate Starbird had a little bit of a collision. And Marina Flores, boy, she's going to be something to watch in the years to come at Stanford.
I like that out-of-bounds play that Paul Stanford had his team run on the three-point line, and Walls nails it.
They're just down by 12. Plenty of time left. Shot clock winding down to 5. Rita Williams puts up the 3. And gets the shooter's bounce. She now has her first basket. But quickly comes Bronner down at the other end for Western.
Has played mostly in this zone. You've got to try and penetrate and then kick it out like they did there. Duran's wide open. She misses, but at least they had a good open shot.
Sauer getting good position for the rebound.
Gino Auriemma is saying, hey, she was bumped out of bounds.
Nonetheless, it's Western Kentucky's ball, and Carol Walters coming back in with 4 fouls. Her team up by 13, 4.5 to play. Sauer goes out. Wasn't sure we were going to see Carol Walters again. Her team had a big lead, but now 13 with 4 and change to go. A different ball game. Bronner getting position and drawing the foul on Carla Berube.
Good confidence by Western Kentucky. McCauley asking for that ball. Give it to me, I want to take. Nikisha Sales inside. Sales kind of bumps her a little bit on the offensive shot, makes her miss it. But Bronner is right there. Bronner has played steady when she's been in there.
And so Bronner will go to the line. 69% free throw shooter last year.
Bronner, a transfer also from Trinity Valley Junior College, which for Alabama, they've got 2 players, T. Mills and Shalonda Ennis, who transferred to Alabama. And Bronner went to Western Kentucky.
Trinity Valley, the 94 champs, the junior college ranks. And Bronner makes an 11-point game.
Behind her, Shane! Swing it!
Sales is so quick.
And no whistle. Was there? I don't know. Is Leslie Johnson too far under the basket? She nails her head.
They're calling it on Johnson. The Western Kentucky bench not too pleased.
And I don't like the way she's reacting either. Keisha Sales going up. She's already up in the air. And Johnson got there too late, in my opinion.
Ooh.
Here she takes off. Johnson makes a step a little bit too late getting over there.
But Johnson is back up.
She really hit her head.
She did. She bounced right back. Well, we should see some hard hits also tonight, later on ESPN, with the Raiders and the Vikings. Sunday Night Football on ESPN, 5 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. I always get mixed up when I'm here on the West Coast.
Which you just love, don't you?
Oh, yeah, I love traveling out west. What time is it? Who am I? Where am I?
Lisa Sunshine.
Vikings and Raiders, 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPN, the Total Sports Network, as Leslie Johnson takes a seat.
Not happy about the call, per se. She felt that she was there, and I don't blame her in the sense of the contact. But I think, too, that Western Kentucky has really been kind of a step slow most of the game. They've shown some bright spots, and I think that's a great rotation. But Leslie Johnson gets there just a little bit too late.
Sales makes 1 of 2.
Just slap me when I say that. Leslie Johnson.
Walls for 3. She now has 13, and it's a 9-point game. Just under 4 to go.
Connecticut cannot protect the league. They need to keep attacking.
Sales trying to attack. Back into Walters. Big basket.
Good rotation with the passing. Gives her a little split second to get that pass in there. A nice open shot.
She now has 11 in the game. McCulley tries to go inside with it, has it stripped.
She was wide open. She was calling for it. I'm surprised they didn't call her for 3 seconds. And when she started to move out of the key, that's when they passed it. Again, that step slow. They're seeing things develop a little bit too slowly. She's wide open, wide open, wide open. Where are you getting? Now, see, she's backing out. She's moving away. And look at the defense collapse, too. She's moving away from the basketball, and defense just closed it right up.
Rita Williams is able to draw the foul. And we'll go to the line. Just a 52% free throw shooter from last season. She played 11.5 minutes last year as a backup to Jen Rosati, and you see the Connecticut bench. Tense moments now. In and out. A second shot for Williams. Berube steps in front. Knocks it to Shea Rao.
Opportunities flying away for the Lady Hilltoppers.
Under 3 to play. Connecticut by 12. Walters with a big rebound. And she'll go to the line.
Trying to screen Walters out when the shot goes up. Leslie Johnson's got her. They want over the back. McCulley trying to come in, and a little reach right there. Leslie Johnson fouling out.
It's quite a battle. She's just 6'1" and trying to battle the 6'7" Kara Walters. It's difficult to do. And so Leslie Johnson in her first game for Western Kentucky has fouled out with 13 points. And her team down by 12.
She's got to feel good, though, to finally get a game under her belt.
She's going to head for the locker room.
Hopefully she's okay, because she banged her head pretty good, too.
And
on
now
that collision with Nikisha Sales.
The trainer is going to attend to her. Maybe we can have Mimi find out her condition. She didn't look to be doing too well as she headed to the locker room. with 13 points. And her team up by 14 with just under 3 minutes left to play. Back here at Maples Pavilion, Connecticut with a 14-point lead over Western Kentucky. You see the time remaining. A little bit earlier, Leslie Johnson.
Lakeisha Sales up in the air, and she goes down really hard.
Right on top of her.
Hits her head right there. And it seemed to bother her. She went out, and then she came back into the game and played, fouled out. She stayed on the floor with her teammates, but then when she came out, she ran right off the floor.
And that was a live shot of her right outside of the locker room. In obvious pain, and we'll try and get an update on her condition. Seconds on the shot clock for Townsend. Shea Ralph the rebound.
Walls and Townsend are going to be good three-point shooters, outside shooters for this Western Kentucky team later on in the season. They get their open shot, they can knock it down.
Inside to Kara Walters, and not much you can do about that. She does a great job of keeping the ball above her head.
And no weak side help, too. It's very difficult when it's a one-on-one situation.
Walters now with 15 points, approaching the 2-minute mark of the game.
I talked to Sandiford before the game on what are you going to do against Walters, and he said, you know, it's just really difficult. You've got to change things up, and you try and push her out, double, triple team her, and you get one-on-one.
Keep playing hard!
Berube with the rebound of the McCulley miss, but then throws it out of bounds. The doctor now with Leslie Johnson out by the locker room. Obvious discomfort.
Stay down, stay down, stay down. Watch the double, Shea. Come on, Shea.
What exactly is the problem?
She could maybe have a concussion as far as how hard she hit the floor, but I'm not going to speculate.
A minute and a half to go. McCulley going hard to the goal, but knocks it out of bounds. Time definitely on Connecticut's side at this point.
There's too much to make up for the Hilltoppers. Nice step in by Bonner.
Good pass from Walls, but just a little too much, and Bronner cannot control it. Gee, I wonder who our State Farm. How did I know that was going to be the case? Lakeisha Sales, of course, the State Farm Player of the Game, 24 points, doing it on both ends of the floor, stealing, dishing, scoring.
Tied her career high, 8 steals, made a career high, 8 assists.
Such a complete player. What a way for her to start her campaign. Preseason National Player of the Year candidate. Leslie Johnson able to get to her feet.
It's real dizzy.
Absolutely.
Well, it was scary when we saw Kara Walters go down.
Absolutely. Now, Kara Walters goes out.
I'm going to say a few prayers that she's okay.
Lakeisha Sales going out. Carla Berube. Outside by McGinnis, the transfer from Duke.
I really like this outside play, or the out-of-bounds play that Western Kentucky has. They get a good, wide-open shot.
Missy Rose, a senior, and gets her first 2 points of her senior year.
Get up here, Jamie. Get up here.
You see the time remaining. Just over 30 seconds left to go. We've got tournament fishing coming up next here on the Deuce. And the turnover, Western Kentucky's ball.
Kelly Hunt really tried to thread the needle there. I didn't think it was too bad a pass.
The Kentucky bench, Western Kentucky bench, trying to rally their teammates.
This is a team that'll be reckoned with. I mean, we talked about the non-conference schedule, and in order to be better, you've got to play those tougher teams, and these young players will know what it takes to get there.
It's hard to open up against a team like Connecticut.
Well, the champions from 2 years ago went undefeated and only lost 3 games last year.
3 consecutive years, 30 wins or more. Only the fourth team to do that, Division I. We still haven't forgotten about Leslie Johnson, and we're hoping to get an update from Mimi Griffin as soon as we can determine what her status is. 3 seconds, 2 seconds remaining. 74-56. Connecticut wins its opener. But we'll be back here to wrap things up at Maples Pavilion, so come on back, everyone.